Good morning and welcome back to Spurs Latest. I am your host, Trip Graham. Got so much to talk about today. Got so much going on in the NBA, so much going on with our Spurs. Only a couple of weeks left in the regular season. And we had the national championship game last night. So we will start there. So, first off, Michigan did beat UConn last night 69-63 to pull off the win in the national championship game. It wasn't really close throughout the entire game. UConn seemed like they wouldn't die. They did everything they could to stay in the game, but it wasn't enough. Uh, Down to the last minute, they were trying to get their threes in, and it just was not hitting. They were doing everything in their power to stay in the game, and it just was not paying off. But it was a great game, and so happy to. It was a great national championship, great NCAA tournament, and a good layup for us going into the NBA playoffs. So I'm very excited about that in particular. So things from this national championship, definitely want to mention. First, a few players, definitely. So I really do like Braden Mullins. He is UConn's three-point shooter. Definitely going to be drafted in the NBA draft this upcoming season, along with Alex Caravan. Alex Caravan is also an unbelievable shooter. So two really good prospects from UConn. I look forward to seeing in the NBA next year. Um, Michigan is just all around a complete team. Their defense was stifling. They really play muck it up basketball. There's not a lot of weak parts of their game. They missed a lot of shots last night, but their defense really was carrying their load for them. Unbelievable performance from Michigan. So shout out Michigan. You know, UConn won two national championships just a couple of years ago. We were going for third in 4 years. Was it going to be the case? But shout out Michigan. What a great game. And now let's get ready for some NBA playoffs because we got so much going on in the NBA. And we'll see these prospects again. This is not the last time we'll see some of those top prospects. Alex Caravan, Braden Mullins going to be in the NBA next year and look forward to that. I'm having a good career, definitely. Yeah, so very excited for this. All right, well, let's talk about something's going on in the NBA. Biggest story right now is that Luka Doncic will be out for the first round of the playoffs, and he has now gone over to Europe to get some treatment. We'll see how this goes, but that's definitely worrisome for Lakers fans. LeBron is going to need to carry the load by himself going into the playoffs, and it's going to be really, really tough for him. I mean, if the playoffs did end today, the Lakers would be playing the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. It's going to be a really, really tough matchup for them. So I would say, LeBron definitely has to step up. It does stink that LeBron isn't the LeBron he once was. He's still averaging over 20 points, so it doesn't really matter. He doesn't compare to anyone else but himself. No one's secondary to LeBron in production at his age. It just is a case of can he carry an entire playoff team by himself at this age, which we have yet to see. So Luka, out for the first round. Bronny might be getting a good amount of playing time with Austin Reeves and Luka out. Bronny definitely has to move up in that depth chart. So we will see if Bronny can perform to the standards of his dad and the likings of his dad on the court. So we will see about that. Really excited to see, Bronny. Everybody's wanted this, Bronny and LeBron playing in the playoffs. So Bronny is that meme of just became important at work. So look out, Bronny. You gotta step up, see if it's go time for you and your dad come playoffs. I'm really excited for this. I mean, NBA playoffs is my favorite favorite sports time of the year. So I'm really looking forward to this. Yeah, really, really looking forward to this. All right. Well, other things, we got so much to talk about today. I do want to just talk about the game last night. I'm not gonna admit that my full attention was maybe not on the Spurs versus Sixers as much as the national championship game last night, but did have it on the second TV. So let's get going. Victor Wembanyama had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 7-11 from the field. Very productive night from him. So great to see. What's his name? Embiid had a good game last night, but it was not enough. Spurs take down the 76ers 115 to 102. So very, very good game from, overall from our team. And, another game in our win book to go into the playoffs. Definitely our star of the game last night was Stephon Castle, 19 points, 10 rebounds, 13 assists to get that triple-double for him. So shout out Castle for getting his triple-double. That's very exciting, really cool for him to get that. One of my favorite players in the league, just shout out Andre Drummond for, the role that he has brought himself into this league. I always love players that figure out their roles in the league and to extend their career to as long as they have been. And Andre Drummond's definitely the case scenario of figuring out how to extend his career and knowing that role to be the best version of himself. So shout out Andre Drummond, just one of my favorite players forever. And I just a catalyst in this league that has had so much success. So yeah, just really love that. But shout out Spurs 115 to 102 to take down the 76ers. We destroyed them. We are had our first 60 win season since 2016. Just unbelievable run for us. We're gonna get into talking about that and some league news stuff a little bit later. But yeah, unbelievable run for us, and absolutely our best season for over 10 years. So let's carry all this momentum going into the playoffs. I'm really excited about it. And we got so much, to succeed going forward. I mean, if the playoffs ended today, you couldn't say that the Spurs aren't the favorites to win the championship. Absolutely. They have just all the tools, all the coaching, all the players, the star power, the guards, the rotation player, the sixth man of the year potentially in Keldon Johnson. So, I mean, they have every single tool at their disposal to win. Now let's just see how they put them together. The biggest things going into the playoffs, it looks like our starting lineup is shored up. It's just who's coming off the bench is my biggest thoughts of who are they going to, have the catalyst be off the bench. So that's my just biggest thought is obviously Keldon Johnson. But is Luke Cornett gonna get minutes? Is Kelly Olynyk gonna get minutes? Is Mac Biombo gonna get minutes? Is Plumlee gonna get minutes? Just thinking about how we are going to Carter Bryant even. How are we gonna move our lineup around to maximize our success? That's my biggest thought about it. Is how big are our rotation are we going? Are we going 7? Are we going 8-man rotation? We will see. So those are just my biggest thoughts is how are we going to sharpen lineup. I want Champagnie to play as much as he can. I think his three-point shooting is extremely important to our success. So Champagnie, shout out him. Then our three-headed monster, Castle, Fox, and Vassell. Just want them to continue to play their style of basketball. It's been so good. So really shout out them. Love how they play the game. So yeah, that's just some of my thoughts on that. Really looking forward to this. We got so much success coming up from us. So shout out us. We got all the tools in our disposal to make a deep run into the playoffs. So let's see if we can pull it off. Just all the tools in our disposal. Now we just have to see if we can pull it off with what we got. All right. Well, next thing we just want to talk about. I just want to talk about so much league news going on. Talk about some of the top headlines in the league. Top headlines going into the playoffs. Even some WNBA things. So let's get into it. So first things first, the Chicago Sky traded Angel Reese to Atlanta Dream for 2 first-round picks. Not much into WNBA, just a big cultural moment as Angel Reese is such a big cultural figure. So let's see Atlanta Dream. They will have Angel Reese going into the next season, and Chicago Sky looks to reset with their lineup. Angel Reese is very young, so it's interesting that they're getting rid of her so fast into her career. So yeah, I just wanted to shout that. Other league news is the Chicago Bulls have fired their executive vice president of basketball operations and their GM. Going full reset mode for the Chicago Bulls. Seems like a little too late for them to doing this full reset odd time into the season. But hey, give us a new management, a full off season to figure out this team going forward. Which I don't know how that team figures out how going forward. It's one of the weirdest constructed basketball teams I've ever seen, to be honest. I mean, they have like 10 guards on that team. Very odd team. Anthony Simons on that team is, he just feels like a gold within that rough. So tough on him. Other league news, Anthony Edwards was disqualified from winning awards due to that 65 game threshold. So that's really tough for him. Wembyana has to play in the last 2 of the 3 games. We have 3 games left in the regular season to be eligible. And Jokic and Kawhi both have to play out every single game in the regular season to make the cut. So just things to look out for. If you see Jokic or Kawhi sitting out, they will not be making the cut if you do not see them playing. All right. Other things with this, just it sucks for Anthony Edwards, but I do agree with the 65 game threshold, and we discussed at an earlier time. That 65 games is pretty fair. 17 games missed is $1 million to some of these guys. Especially the top players. So if you're losing out on $1 million, if you're getting a free $1 million for missing 17 games due to injury, I think you're okay with missing out on the awards. That's just my personal take about that. Other things in the NBA, just basketball in general. University of North Carolina is going to hire ex-NBA coach Michael Malone. Nuggets coach that won a championship with Joker. Interested in pickup. Michael Malone's one of the best, NBA coaches out there. So I really kind of, I like that pickup for them. I think he's just always liked him in the NBA. I think Jokic really liked him. So shout out Michael Malone for getting that new coaching job with UNC. College always needs more personality. So love college personalities, and shout out them. Oh my gosh, I did come across this stat that I just wanted to bring up. So this is the first, as I mentioned earlier in the show, Spurs' first in 60-game win season since 10 years ago now, 2016, 2017. And I just want to read off some of the starting lineups and their ages, which is just incredible. Ready? Paul Gasol, 36. Tony Parker, 34. LaMarcus Aldridge, 31. Danny Green, 29. And Kawhi Leonard, the young buck of the team, was 25. So just 36, 34, 31, 29, and 25. Our lineup now. Our oldest player on our team is De'Aaron Fox, who is 28 years old. Stephon Castle, 21. Devin Vassell, 25. Champagnie, 24. And Wemby, 22. Just crazy how much we have gotten younger over the years, especially with this iteration of this team. The young bucks still extend toward the bench. Carter Bryant, Keldon Johnson. So we just have a very, very young team. So pretty cool. As they did have a very old team over on when they won with Kawhi Leonard being the young buck of the team. So that's cool to see. And so just did want to mention, if the playoffs did end today, we would be playing one of the play-in seeds teams. So that just is questionable. The play-in teams are going to be the Trailblazers, the Warriors, the Suns, and the Clippers. So we will see how that goes. Well, that's all I have from here today at Spurs Latest. I will check you in the next one. Go Spurs, go.